What's up, guys? Back live. Instant reaction to week 5. We had some huge performances this week, some real letdowns as always, some injuries. I hope everything was great for you. I think Pierre might be a little shell-shocked from the Dolphins getting smoked by the Jets, so hopefully he'll come out of it and join us here soon. But I wanted to hop on because I know we only have about an hour here, and then we got to go for the Sunday night game. So we'll talk about some of your big games from your guys, maybe some players who are letting you down. So real quick, before we get into that, don't forget patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. If you like the channel, if you enjoy what we're doing and you want to support us. Plus, you also want to get weekly rankings, waiver wire advice, extra videos, access to our live show Sunday morning, our private live show. It's less than $5. It's very inexpensive. Patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. Of course, if you want a free version, Discord. I don't have the link. It's like a weird link. But if you go down below the description, you can get in there for free. Easy download, easy sign up. Lots of smart people in there. Pierre and I are active in there. You can get your questions answered in there as well. And of course, if you haven't already, like, subscribe to the channel. But anyways, let's get into it because, like I said, we only have an hour. Tyler, yo, what's up? Gabe Davis is back. Yes, I saw the reports this week were encouraging that he looked healthy. And man, he looked healthy today. So good job if you started Gabe Davis. Winning weeks this week for sure. Breece, yes, I told you guys for 4 weeks, go trade for Breece. He's going to be a league winner this year. Well, it's too late now. Breece Hall, and every week must start. RB1. You know what? I compared this to Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines in 2020, and it looks just like Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines in 2020, except Breece Hall and Michael Carter. Breece Hall is completely taken over. He looks amazing. Should have had 3 touchdowns today. Got tackled at the 1 twice on long gains. So if you got Breece Hall, you're feeling great right now. Looks like in every week, must start RB1, definitely. Yeah, exactly. Breece Hall, easy RB1. We actually told people to start Gabe Davis this week, so okay. Don't know what and what did he do for 2 weeks? He did nothing. And then we told you to start Gabe Davis this week and he went off. So I don't know what you want from us. Not sure what you want from us, but thank you. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people feeling this way right now. Fantasy can be a crazy game for sure. It can be a crazy game if you're on the wrong end or the right end of it. Fantasy football can be an absolutely crazy game. Yeah, Pierce looks like that guy. Pierce looks like a legit league winner based on where you drafted him. If you drafted him earlier in the offseason, you were getting him around rounds 9, round 10. I mean, you got to be thrilled. The guy looks awesome. Even on a bad Texans offense, it doesn't matter. He looks awesome. Running wild, breaking tackles. Looks great. Yeah, if you got Breece or Pierce right now, you are feeling great. You've got 2 stud running backs who are young, look explosive, so you got to be feeling great. Yeah, well, I mean, okay, you can't get upset about Damian Harris. He hurt his hamstring in the first quarter or something like that and left the game. He only had 4 carries and then he hurt his hamstring. Obviously, he was probably going to have a big game because look what Rhamondre Stevenson did when he got all the carries. That Lions defense is terrible. I mean, Amon-Ra, there was definitely some risk. We knew he had. I'm not really sure why they played Amon-Ra, to be honest, because they have the bye next week. They said, the last report we heard this morning was he might only play 30 snaps. So I'm not really sure why they even played Amon-Ra. Why even bother? You got the bye next week. Yeah, he didn't really do anything. And Everett, man, that was shocking with no Keenan Allen first down game. But that's kind of what you get with tight ends, right? I mean, even one for Everett, who's been pretty good this year. You know, a tight end like Everett, they're going to have their ups and downs for sure. Let's see. I mean, okay, Kittle wasn't. He had a fumble, but he had 5 catches for 40-something yards. So I mean, you got to be a little bit encouraged by what you're seeing. You get 10 points. You get 10 points from a tight end. You can't complain. You really can't complain. Who would? Let's look at the tight ends this week real quick. Let's look at this. Who are the top scoring tight ends right now? Let me look real quick. We got you got Taysom Hill, of course, he went nuts. Then you got Goddard with 17, Njoku with 14, Ingram with 12, Higbee with 11. I mean, Troutman, nobody started him with 11. Ertz with 10. Bellinger, who vultured a touchdown from Barkley, with 10. Otten with 10. I mean, you get 10 from your tight end. You gotta be like, okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. So without the fumble, he gets like about 10. So I'm still feeling okay about Kittle. He's probably not going to be like the stud that he was when he set that record, but he's still okay, I think. Yeah, the big injury. Oh, here we go. All right. Pierre has joined us. What is up?
All right. Let's get to it.
Right in time for the Penny injury. The Rashad Penny, maybe a season-ending injury. Did I hear that right? It's a broken tibia. Is that right?
Fractured tibia. Not a good thing. I don't think we've got anything official from the Seahawks other than what it is, like time frames. Pete Carroll said it's serious. Obviously, that's serious. I think we have to assume he's going to be out for the season, if not at least most of the season. So, I mean, guys, it's pretty obvious the number one waiver wire pickup is Kenneth Walker. I mean, there's no question. It has to be.
Yeah, and 2 and 3, you're fine at 2 and 3. I got a team right now that's stacked, and the guy I'm playing against had Chubb, Henry, Mike Williams, like the San Francisco defense, like just had like an insane game, right? Just had an insane game from everybody, and it's going to be close. And I might go to 2 and 3, but I'm not worried because I'm stacked. So at least you got number one priority. And we got Tyler. Who we got tonight? Explain. I guess who's going to win? Who's going to win the game?
I'm guessing he means like who you like for this night game. Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, maybe. A lot of guys I like tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if we're talking team or players. If we're talking teams, actually, I kind of like the home team here. Baltimore. Cincinnati's not playing that great this year.
Yeah, probably Baltimore, but Cincinnati always seems to step up for Baltimore, so we'll see. I got a crazy matchup, the one I just told you about, where I'm up by 2, and he's got Lamar and the Bengals kicker, and I have, crazily enough, I have J.K. Dobbins and Joe Burrow, so we'll see, and I'm up by 2, so
that's
it's going to be
the
really
one
tight.
league where you have J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, and I have Hunt on the bench who got like 14 points. I'm like, I wish I would have just taken my 14 Hunt points. I don't know if Dobbins is going to give me 14 points, but we'll see. We will see.
All right. Let's see. We got a super chat from Humberto. Traded for Aaron Jones.
I mean, it depends what you gave up. If you didn't give up too much, I'm fine with it. Like, my worry isn't Aaron Jones. My worry is the Packers, man. Like, this is not the Green Bay Packers we were used to, right? This is a terrible. I mean, they couldn't even put points on the board in the second half against the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, geez, this is not a good offense. So I think Aaron Jones will be fine, but he's not like, he's like a solid RB2, right? He's like a solid RB2.
He's going to be up and down. You know, like there's a lot of receivers that are like boom bust. You know what I mean? He'll have these big games, then like down. He's like the running back equivalent of that because he doesn't get consistent touches. This offense is a little bit up and down. He's a little bit big play dependent. You know, he's been doing really well, but also I say this a lot. There's some running backs who are better, more efficient when they get less touches. There's some guys who are better with more work. There's some guys who are more efficient when they aren't getting fed the ball as much, and he's not going to because AJ Dillon's still there. Which, by the way, I'll take the L on AJ Dillon for today. That game did not go the way I thought it would go. I did not see the Giants winning that game and clamping down the second half, but it happens.
It happens. I mean, I don't think anybody predicted Giants 4-1. So
no, definitely not. All right, different Tyler, not Tyler Foley. We got Tyler here. So Kamara, Pierce, and Cook balled for me. Very nice. Higgins and Burrow left to go. Wow. I mean,
I'm going to assume you're doing pretty well. But of course, it depends. Like, there are some big games, right? Like, if you played against Gabe Davis, Nick Chubb, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, by the way. Remember when people were like, I'm trading Justin Jefferson. Oh, my God, he sucks. Justin Jefferson is the number 5 PPR scorer right now. 30 points. with this many touchdowns today. This many. 0 touchdowns today. And he's the number 5 PPR scorer with 30 points. You know, you got all the guys ahead of him had 2, all the guys behind him have 2, and here's Justin Jefferson. Doesn't even need touchdowns. Like, I don't even need a touchdown. I got you guys. Don't worry. Yeah. Hopefully you didn't panic trade Justin Jefferson a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but he didn't. Justin Jefferson had that one play. It was at the very beginning of the game, right? It was a touchdown, then it got called back or something.
And then Dalvin Cook scored. Yeah.
And then Dalvin Cook scored.
Yeah. His knee was down at like the 1, and then Dalvin Cook scored. So.
All right, and then let's go to Rudith.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not panicking about Amon-Ra today. Like we got the reports that he might only play like 30 snaps before the game, like this morning. Which again, guys, another reason why you want to get in the Patreon if you can, because we get on this morning right before the games with all the latest info. You know, when we do our Saturday night show, we try to do the best we can, but you know, things change overnight, especially in the morning with inactives and stuff. A lot of news comes out Sunday morning. So just something to think about. But you know, I thought it would be a down game for him. But man, Dameon Pierce looks legit. And if Pittman bounces back in any way, which I think he will, then I think you gave up too much.
And that's the thing, is you can look at this game, you know, Amon-Ra, he was sort of on a pitch count, right? Yeah. Because the injury, and you know, next week, sure, they get the bye. So bad timing as far as getting him, but it's not just that. It's like, yeah, Pierce is probably not a guy you want to trade right now. He's just getting better. And then to trade Pittman and Pierce, it seems like too much. And
I think people kind of like the first two. Look, guys go on touchdown heaters. 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games. Like, there's some guys that are still on touchdown heaters right now. They might go on all season, but I think people kind of skipped over the fact that it's still Jared Goff throwing him the football, right? And what have we seen the last couple games? Like, okay, yeah, Jared Goff not gonna throw like 4 touchdowns every week, and you know what I mean. So I think Amon-Ra will be fine, but I think it's a little too much to give up on.
And it's not just 2 or 3 games into the season, right? Now it's week 5, but there's still things will change, and there's some offenses and defenses you can say, okay, I believe in this or I don't believe in this. Like Detroit offense, maybe we shouldn't have believed quite so much. Patriots have a good defense, not a shutdown, like just the type of defense. Oh, we should have seen this coming. I mean, Detroit just was bad today, right? So without DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra, not full health. Okay, so they'll be better after the bye week, sure. But I don't necessarily believe that they're going to be one of the top scoring offenses the rest of the season. That's all I'm saying. All right, Isaac. What's up, Isaac? So many touchdowns, even tight ends. Yeah, there was a lot of vulturing, and it started really early. Saquon being the top running back. Just imagine if it wasn't Daniel Bellinger, tight end, getting a rushing touchdown, and Gary Brightwell and all. I mean, the Vultures were out today.
The Vultures were out. Like, yeah, Gary Brightwell. When Gary Brightwell scored, Barkley wasn't even in. So you like, Barkley probably should have had like 2 or 3 touchdowns today for sure. But he was still great. But yeah, a lot of guys scored 2 touchdowns today. Like a lot of 2 touchdown games. This is just like you're right. There was just a lot of touchdowns today. But Taysom Hill with 4 touchdowns. Like, what the heck? Well, I guess 3 touchdowns and 1 passing touchdown, but still, I guess it counts. So yeah, definitely. It's every week in the NFL is crazy. Like, it always surprises, right? That's what's so fun about it. It's like so unpredictable every week.
Yeah, it's more fun when you win, but I get it, guys. Look, I mean, of course, nobody sees it coming. How many people actually started Taysom Hill in a league this week? Probably nobody.
I'm sure some people were desperate and did, and like are doing, backflips right now. But yeah, like very little, right? Very little.
Yeah, so you never know. Those things happen. The Vultures will always be out. This week did seem a little bit more than usual. That's just how it is. Talk about a surprise one, disappointment. Christian Kirk, man, what happened there? I think that was the most disappointing game. I mean, personally for me, of course, it was the Dolphins, but just fantasy-wise, nobody did anything in that game except for Dameon Pierce
and Travis Etienne.
I mean, sort of. I mean, all he really did was take away Still Thunder from James Robinson, who didn't do anything.
And Marvin Jones, actually, what did Marvin Jones have today? Like 7 for 104
Marvin Jones.
I know that's the crazy thing about Christian Kirk, and I'm going to talk about. He's going to be in the panic video tonight. It's not like it wasn't like last week where he got 9 targets and it's like whatever. Like no, Trevor Lawrence threw the ball 47 times. Marvin Jones had 12 targets. Evan Ingram had 10 targets. Christian Kirk had 3 targets. But again, we talked about this, I talked about it just a second ago. Guys go on heaters. Sometimes guys go on heaters in the beginning of the season. Sometimes guys go on heaters in the middle of the season. Sometimes they go on heaters at the end of the season. So, Kirk, I still think Kirk will be good. But maybe what we saw weeks 1 through 3, where he looked like a no doubt you have to have in your lineup every single week, maybe that's not the guy we're going to get most weeks. Maybe he'll land somewhere like a solid wide receiver 2 type with upside. So, yeah, it's again just guys go through heaters and guys go through slumps. It's like anything, right? It's like you're a baseball guy. You know how it is. Like a guy can be like hitting a home run in 5 straight games, and then he goes 2 weeks without hitting a home run. You know what I mean?
It's true. It definitely happens. Kirk, who knows? But Marvin Jones, 11 targets. 11 targets, led the team. And then, of course, Kirk, only 1 catch. I mean, we'll have to see. I think we can just say this takes a little bit of confidence away from Christian Kirk. Obviously, He's not the clear number 1 receiver every week. But it also doesn't mean you give up on him. But I think it's pretty safe to say you can give up on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're dropping him for a nobody, nothing. But if you're dropping him for anybody of any value, yeah, you can drop Allen Robinson, definitely.
I mean, honestly, when I'm watching that game, I keep seeing Ben Skoranek get targeted, and it's just like, yeah, okay, so 8 targets for Skoranek. Allen Robinson had 5 targets, 3 catches, 12 yards. I don't care. I'm just dropping Allen Robinson every week space at this point.
Yeah, every week 5 targets. That's it. Just 5 targets. You can't be fantasy relevant off of 5 targets. Nobody can. Nobody can. Unless you're Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis can be fantasy relevant off of 5 targets. That's it. He's the only one.
Gabe Davis can, not Allen Robinson. All right, so Alejandro Olivas has Josh Allen, Cook, Robinson, the Sun God, London, Andrews, Olave, Connor, Gabe Davis, Curtis Samuel, Josh Reynolds, Pollard, Gibson. Okay, we're doing a team audit right as the afternoon games end. It's never too early.
Well, look, I'm already saying it. Trade Dalvin Cook now. Madison was quite a bit involved today. Dalvin Cook wasn't Dalvin Cook got 25 carries and 6 catches. It was a smash matchup against the Bears, who can't tackle, can't stop. He basically walked in untouched for 2 touchdowns from close to the goal line. People still believe that Dalvin Cook is this elite, fantasy RB1, and he just isn't. Take advantage of this game, trade Dalvin Cook. And I would say for your team, I don't really, but see you kind of need a running back though. That's the problem here.
Yeah, Gibson is. No, I mean you got Brad Robinson, I guess, but still. Yeah, we just talked about the Sun God. I mean, is he a clear, no doubt wide receiver 1 necessarily this season?
I think he's going to be he's going to be one of those guys that you pretty much have to play every week. And I was talking about this in the Discord, because for some reason, so many people on our Discord hate boom bust players. They think all these players are safe. And I'm 90% of players are boom bust. Unless you're talking about Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Saquon, Chubb, right? The top, the top of the top, the best of the best. Everybody else is boom bust. Everybody else is going to have big games, down games, in between games. So you shouldn't be worrying about that. So yeah, I mean, Sun God probably not going to be like Cooper Kupp this year, right? He's not going to be this year's Cooper Kupp, but he's still going to have big weeks, I'm sure. So I could see trading for a wide receiver as well.
Yeah, I just think to shore up. I mean, if you're trading Dalvin Cook, right, you should be able to get an elite receiver, especially right now, just to shore it up, because, like you said, I prefer Sun God as the number 2 receiver there. London, you see, is going to be up and down. Olave right now is banged up. Gabe Davis, yeah, you'll keep in there most weeks, but he's also going to be up and down. So That's the move there. All right. What about Jack Penhallow?
Ooh.
Kirk and Waddle with Gabe benched. Do you sell?
Sell.
Like one of those top 2 guys so you can keep Gabe in the lineup?
I mean, the problem is, what are you going to get for Kirk and Waddle right now? Waddle, a couple of bad games in a row. And now, I mean, I'm sure Teddy will be back next week, but with all these new concussion regulations, who knows? Kirk, 2 bad games in a row. Their value isn't like, I think Kirk still has a decent amount of value, but it's not what it was like 2 weeks ago, right? I mean, unless you want to trade Gabe really high, which I don't mind trading that. Like, look, I know right now people are already commenting, "Oh my God, he's saying to get rid of Gabe Davis after this huge game." Yeah, Gabe Davis had what, 4 targets today, 3 targets, and you know what I mean? Like that's not sustainable. like yes, Gabe Davis will have more games like this, but he'll also have a lot of games like we saw in weeks 2 and weeks 2, 3, and well, I guess he didn't play one of those weeks. But, the other 2 games where he didn't do anything, because when you're getting that low of a target share, it's very hard, to do this week in and week out. So I think if you want to sell Gabe high, assuming you get back a really good running back or another really good wide receiver, I would do it. Don't trade him, just to trade him.
Yeah, that's the thing. The short-term memory kicks in real fast, right? Because we tend to just forget, oh yeah, the last 2 weeks Gabe Davis did almost nothing for you, and he missed the game. And, for some, you can just excuse it and say, well, he wasn't 100% the ankle, whatever. He was playing. He was still playing. Like, no, he probably wasn't 100%. But even if he was, does that mean he would have had 3 touchdowns in those games? No. So I think that might make sense. You don't sell Waddle right now. Waddle, once Tua comes back, can be a stud. Kirk, he's going to have some ups and downs. But right now, whose trade value is higher, Gabe or Kirk? It's definitely going to be Gabe. All right, Humberto again. I gave up Sanders and Hunt for Jones. I mean, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, Hunt scored today finally again. It had been coming. Sanders didn't do. See, that's the thing. Like, I talked about this a lot. Like, you want to talk about a boom bust running back? That is Miles Sanders. Like, he either does nothing or he goes off. You know what I mean? Like, the boom bust, and it's so funny to me. Like, the week after he booms, everybody's like, "Oh, you're always like bad mouthing Miles Sanders. You're saying not to start Miles Sanders." And then the week he does nothing, nobody says a word about Miles Sanders. You know what I mean? It's like, he is what he is, right? He is what he is. He'll have those weeks where he scores 2 touchdowns and goes off, and he'll have those weeks like this week where he doesn't do anything. So I don't think that's a terrible trade, because Jones, I think, will be more solid week in and week out.
Yeah,
I think you might be able to get 35 with Carr and Adams.
I mean, I like Jones better than Sanders, and they're both similar in terms of being boom bust.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine. I don't think that was a bad trade. With Carr and Adams left, you do have a good shot. I mean, that should definitely be a shootout. I'm talking about that for a while. So I think you're okay, Humberto. Don't worry. Sin City Batman.
All right.
All right. Got Lamar Jackson, JJ, Devonta Adams. Very nice. Fournette, Montgomery. You had a good week. DK, Godwin, Wall on the bench. Very nice. Yeah, you definitely had a week. All right. Madison and Pitts as well. Good day. Yeah. I mean,
honestly, with Njoku, you don't even need. You might just want Pitts to like miss the season. Just keep rolling. Just keep rolling with Njoku, right?
He's a guy. I said it, yesterday at the top of the show. We talked about the injuries. Like, you're probably relieved that Pitts was just ruled out, so you don't have to worry about starting him, because, I mean, man, it just avoids you from taking the L. Gives him a week. Maybe that'll help get right. I don't know, but Njoku has been better than Pitts, anyways.
Yeah,
I don't know. Something to think about. It's too early for me to call it for next week. If Pitts plays, who knows? But man,
I'm playing Njoku over Pitts next week. I'll call it right now. Njoku
over Pitts.
Did he get the targets, the yardage he's picking up? Like, yeah. You got to hold him. I think you got to hold. Like, there's not. Like, again, this isn't the time to trade these guys, because you're not going to get a lot back from them. I mean, you never know. Maybe somebody in your league, like maybe you play in a league with Pierre. He doesn't love London, but Waddle, Waddle's his guy. So maybe you can still get a pretty good value for Waddle. But outside of that, you're not going to get a lot for these guys. So you got to just kind of hold them. You got to kind of. I think if Tua or Teddy is back next week, Waddle will still be fine.
And look, we know that Waddle was one of the top receivers in the league when Tua was playing the last 2 weeks. It's been different. So Waddle, I'm not worried about. And actually, the Dolphins have a really good schedule the next few weeks. London, I am worried about, but probably so is everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, his trade value is not going to be too great right now. So I think you just hold. I think you just hold with both.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, once again, wants to know, do I trade? I'm guessing Sanders and Gabe.
I'm guessing for Dalvin Cook.
Probably Dalvin Cook. I don't know about David Cook.
This is not the time to trade for Dalvin Cook. This is I would rather just have Sanders and Gabe. Dalvin Cook hasn't scored 14 fantasy points all year until this year, which, by the way, Dalvin Cook was on the thumbnail of our running back boom video because he was in such a smash spot this week. So you can't look at he's in a smash spot and he did what he was supposed to do. You can't now this is why I say Dalvin Cook is a sell high, because people still believe Dalvin Cook will be an elite fantasy running back. I don't believe it. I mean, look what we saw the first 4 weeks. Didn't do a whole lot. Madison getting involved. Even today, Madison was even in the red zone, Madison is getting involved. This is not the Mike Zimmer Vikings. The narrative was teams don't throw on the Bears. And then the Vikings threw all over them and Justin Jefferson went nuts. The Vikings are just a team that are going to throw the ball a lot. And they're going to throw the ball a lot around the goal line. They're going to just throw the ball a lot. So I would not make that. I would keep Sanders and Gabe.
What do you think? I mean, on the surface, you look at that deal, it seems reasonable to me, those two guys for that one. Would you trade those two for Cook and then flip Cook to get a stud receiver, something like that?
I mean, only if you can flip Cook, though. That's the problem. I don't want to get stuck with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. I guess you're taking that chance.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
If you look today, Dalvin Cook, 18 carries, 94 yards. Okay, that's nice. 2 catches. Okay, that's nice. But again, the Bears. This is as good as this is unless the Lions. I mean, yeah, and he will get the Lions. He does get the Lions because they're in that division, so those games will be nice. But outside of that, I don't think he's Alexander Madison, 9 carries today. Alexander Madison, more catches than Dalvin Cook today. Madison's more involved. It's not just Dalvin Cook, and 42 pass attempts for the Vikings today. This is not the Mike Zimmer Vikings.
And we shouldn't just completely forget about the fact that he had that shoulder injury and he's been great ever since, but there's always that possibility he does re-injure it because, a lot of these medical professionals have been saying high chance for re-injury. Just saying. It's still possible.
Just saying. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what about A.J. Dillon going forward? Let's start with that.
I think I talked about him in the panic video tonight. Bless you.
All right. So yeah,
I guess I'll spoil. Basically, what I say is he's got to be on your bench. He's a bye week fill-in at this point. He's a guy where because bye weeks start next week. So if you're hurting because of bye weeks, yeah, you can put him in your lineup. He won't absolutely kill you most weeks, but I would say most of the time he's probably just gonna have to be on your bench.
It's weird because he started out so strong and, after the first couple weeks looked like he was going to be better than Aaron Jones in terms of fantasy. And it's not so much that the touches were going Jones' way. He just was a little more efficient. But now all of a sudden it's like Aaron Jones is slowly taking a little more of the work. And, that offense just isn't the highest scoring. They've been fine, but not great, right? This isn't the Packers of old. So, and that's the thing. I don't feel like Dillon is going to set and forget no matter what, but I really thought this matchup would work in his favor. I really thought they'd be able to run the ball more effectively, and he was actually being effective. It's just they weren't running the ball. For some reason, they decided that we're going to come out and throw the ball 24 times in the first half against the Giants. That's just what happened. And then the Giants didn't let them run the ball in the second half because the Giants scored and the Packers couldn't stop them. So that game totally went against, expectations. I should know better than to pick anything from a London game. That's lesson learned here, right?
Yes.
Avoid London. All right, Isaac K. back in the house. All right, so he says game script of taking out Breece, let Carter get 1-yard touchdowns cost me. Okay, that is definitely. I don't know if we can call Carter a vulture because at first he was a starter, and now he's just kind of getting phased back. But I mean, is that something you worry about? Because I know we're big on Breece Hall.
No, look, when a guy runs 79 yards and gets tackled at the 1, even a professional football player, they're tired, they're gassed. They come out of the game. They always come out of the game. Like I don't care who it is. They come out of the game because they need a break. They just ran 79 yards, fully sprinting, guys hanging off of them. You know what I mean? They need a break. So I knew when he got tackled at the 1, I even put it in this card. I was like, oh, great. Here comes a Michael Carter touchdown because I knew they're not going to leave Breece Hall out there. He's gassed. And same with the second one. It was like a 27-yard catch, and he got tackled at the 1. I mean, maybe in that one they could have left him in. But again, you got a fresh Michael Carter sitting there on the sidelines. Breece Hall just had a big play. I don't think it was game script. So, I mean, look, I do have Breece Hall in like a couple of leagues because, of course, I've been talking him up all offseason. I don't care. All I'm thinking about right now with Breece Hall is I have a league-winning running back. It's week 5. If I lost this week, who cares? I have a league-winning running back for the rest of the season. I don't care that Michael Carter got 2 touchdowns. I don't. It's fine because Breece Hall is going to be an every week set and forget must-start running back from now until you win your fantasy championship, basically.
Well, here's the thing: is Breece Hall did score a touchdown, right?
Still got a touchdown.
So, I mean, if you were counting on Breece Hall to get like 3 touchdowns, I mean, you probably needed more from your other positions, not just him. I mean, he can only do so much, right? He had a big game. I mean, I know it's frustrating, but guys, NFL coaches don't care about your fantasy team. They're going to do what they think is best, and they think they have a running back who's almost as good. He's fresh. Look, I mean, like Kyle Shanahan actively hates your fantasy team. We know this. That's why he's pulling Tevin Coleman, out of retirement to get these touchdowns, even though Jeff Wilson was running great. Like, that's the case where you should be pissed at him. But for the most part, it's just going to be.
You know what? Just be grateful you have Breece Hall, and you can just ride him the rest of the season, man.
And don't go, somebody dropped Michael Carter, I'm going to go pick. No, you don't have to pick up Michael Carter. I'm not even going to mention him on the waiver wire video. I'll just tell you that right now. Okay, so Johnny's always with us. Amon-Ra was a dud. But here's the thing is we knew there was some risk because he had been limited all week, but I mean, it was really late. I feel like we discussed this morning with the patrons, that they all of a sudden this morning, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be on a snap count. He's only going to play, 20, 30, something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, you still start a guy because he's that good, but you knew that there was risk here.
Yeah, I wish it would have just been like, it doesn't make any sense with the bye next week. Why risk him? Like, what if he would have re-injured it and now has a serious ankle sprain and has to miss significant time? Like, it would have been better if they just ruled him out and said, rather than play him 20 to 30 snaps or whatever, let's just rule him out, bye week next week, get everybody back healthy for week 7, and we can go off. But they didn't. And yeah, I mean, it sucks. It's the way it goes. Can't really do anything about it. Like, unless you saw the report this morning, because last night it was sounding like, yeah, he's good. He's going to play. Don't worry about it. And then this morning, Jay Glazer reported, he's going to be on snap count. So.
Yeah, never know. Let's talk about this. I don't think we mentioned too detailed. Rashad Penny, look, he got hurt. That happens. It's really bad luck. But at the same time, I think there was a couple people who asked, do I start Rashad Penny? And we pretty much said no, because it doesn't matter how dominant he looked against Detroit. Yeah. This was a bad matchup for him. He wasn't doing anything before he got hurt. So, look, that's the thing is you have to just forget last week. Whatever happened just now, these last 6 hours, just forget it. Move on to next week.
Well, yeah. Well, now you definitely have to move on to next week because you don't have Rashad Penny anymore. So,
yeah, exactly. And then just to verify, because I know some people, take the L on Christian Kirk, take the L on whatever. Guys, it'll happen. Guys will have big games. We've been talking about Breece Hall since April, May? Since
he was drafted. I've been talking about Breece Hall since and then even when there was all this camp noise that, Michael Carter, no, Michael Carter's way ahead of Breece Hall. I said, okay, but don't worry. Breece Hall's going to eventually take over. He took over sooner than I even thought it. I'll be honest. I didn't think he'd even take over this early, but
that's true.
He was on the buy low video every single week. until you couldn't buy him low anymore. Like literally every week I was like, trade for Breece Hall, trade for Breece Hall, trade for Breece Hall, until you couldn't trade for him. And now it's done. Like whoever's got Breece Hall isn't giving you Breece Hall unless you give him like a king's ransom, right? So.
But that even better, because let's say you didn't get Breece Hall or you didn't believe or whatever. If you bought low after week 2, 3, you got an even better deal than whatever you would have paid during the draft for him. So that's why we do this, guys. Trying to look ahead. All right, Cody Green, 10-man league. Trade Evans for Debo. By the way, another guy who you thought would be a stud did absolutely nothing today. Debo did nothing for you.
He scored, so people are okay with it because he got a touchdown. Which I think is funny. Well. And look, no, it's funny in the Discord because I'm like, okay, all these guys are scoring touchdowns, but like, what happens when they don't score touchdowns? Like, guys aren't going to score, 30 touchdowns. There's not going to be a 30 touchdown scorer this year, probably. Like, we haven't seen a 30 scorer touchdown in, I don't even 100 years or something. Like, yeah, Debo scored today, but he did nothing outside of that touchdown. Nothing. And no one cares because he scored a touchdown. Like, Evans doesn't score a touchdown. Everybody's like, what's wrong with Mike Evans? What's wrong with Mike? Like, he had a better game than Deebo Samuel. Anyways, I think I prefer Evans. I prefer Evans. It was a tough spot for Evans today. He had a tough matchup today. He still did well. I think this Bucs offense only gets better. I still slightly prefer Evans.
I mean, it's close. I think at this point, even though I know just that he did nothing, but I think I still like Debo a little bit better, but it's pretty close. I mean, these are both guys who are going to be in every week, wide receiver 1, set and forget. So, but again, a guy like Debo, yeah, he got 2 catches today, 2 carries. It happens. Okay, forget it. Move on. A.J. Brown did nothing for you today.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. All right. But what do you think, talking about San Francisco, what do you think about Jeff Wilson? I've been a little too low on him. I'll admit he looked really good today. Like, he didn't look like this earlier in the season. I feel like he's gaining some steam.
Yeah, he's gaining some steam, and it's kind of making me a little nervous for when Elijah Mitchell comes back from IR. Like, is it still going to be Elijah Mitchell, or are they just going to keep rolling with Jeff Wilson because he looked pretty good? So I think you can feel fairly good about Jeff Wilson, especially in good matchups. He's getting the touches. He looks good running the ball. So I think you can feel fairly good about Jeff Wilson.
Yeah. Looks like a solid RB2, especially he's kind of owning that backfield now. I mean, I'm not really going to count Tevin Coleman. I guess he's a factor now. But it's pretty obvious that they don't care for Jordan Mason. He's not going to get any touches. Eli Mitchell's still out. Ty Davis Price is still out. So it's pretty much all his backfield at this point. So feel pretty good. All right, Philip. Rough week. Lost to a team.
That hurts.
Okay, well, if they had Taysom Hill,
that's just bad luck. That's just bad luck.
What can you do? All right, so thoughts on James Conner or Najee for rest of the season?
Well, okay, let's start with Najee. Let's get the elephant out of the room. You can't play Najee for right now. You can't. You can't play him. He's got to be on the bench. Until we see something, he's got to be on the bench. Another guy you can't do anything with. You can't trade him because no one's going to give you anything. You can't drop him because if he starts doing something, you're going to be like, why did I drop him? What was I thinking? So yeah, it sucks, but he's just going to have to be on the bench until I will say there wasn't really anything encouraging today. Like, no, he's got to be on your bench. I was going to try to say something encouraging, but there really isn't. He's got to be on your bench. This is a mess. Pittsburgh's a mess on both sides of the ball, not just offense, defense too. Just a mess. They're just a mess out there in Pittsburgh. One of the worst Steelers teams I've ever seen with Tomlin. So, yeah, he's got to be on the bench.
I hate to say this, but maybe we didn't give Ben Roethlisberger enough credit because they were always competitive.
Yeah.
And, even though he wasn't great personally, the last couple of years, you could tell his arm was, like a wet noodle. But just having that veteran QB, guy who's won a Super Bowl, just having him guide the offense, like they've always been competitive. There were always a game where he could just chuck it and keep them in it. And obviously you don't have that anymore, and the offensive line issues are showing now. So you got to be worried. And I don't think it's Najee personally because we had this discussion in the Discord. You put him on a team with a much better situation, offensive line, he could be a stud. I don't think it's him. It's a bad offense, like you said. I do not trying to play just the role of like eternal optimist, or say, oh, we're wrong about Najee. Look, next week against Tampa Bay, you basically can't start.
You can't start.
But then it does get a little bit better eventually. I think second half you might see it, because they have a really, really, really rough schedule up until their bye. So Najee, he's going to be pretty tough to play. But they'll get, down the stretch some better matchups. But
now James Conner, didn't James Conner leave with another injury today? Shock. A guy who's never once played a full season hurt again. I didn't hear what the injury was though. What was the injury?
It was a rib injury. I don't know details like severity, so I don't think it's anything long term. But he could miss next week. Benjamin scored a touchdown, I think. So
even still, what are you getting from James Conner these days? Touchdown or nothing? I mean, you got touchdown or nothing last year. It's just nobody noticed it because he scored 18 touchdowns. He's just touchdown or nothing. He's touchdown or nothing.
But this team, at least, look, you got Najee. That's going to be rough the next few weeks. But you got Breece Hall. You got Breece. Hunt could be your RB2.
Yeah. Hunt, even in his bad games, is giving you what James Conner's giving you. Right? Like 9-10 PPR points. So, what?
What do you think about this?
Breece Hall was on waivers?
Week 3, because week 1 and 2 was all Michael Carter.
Wow. Well, congrats. You just won your fantasy league by getting Breece Hall off of waivers. Wow. I hope that was a money league. I hope people paid money. I hope you paid money. Wow.
Congratulations. All right. Let's keep going here. Actually, I think we're caught up right now in the super chats. Let's talk about this. Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Because I'll do the injury report / waiver wire. You'll get that tomorrow. Tyreek Hill, he was seen in a boot, and they say it's a foot injury. Something happened late in the game. He got stepped on though, and so he kind of brushed it off, and he said something like, "What do you say? It's like the cheetah. It just has a banged up paw, or something like that." So that's what he would say, right, Terry? So he didn't seem too worried about it. If all he did was get stepped on, I'm not worried about it. I mean, they'll put a boot on anybody these days, and they'll take a guy off in a cart or carry him off because they have a cramp. So I'm not too worried about this. I think Tyreek will be fine. I'll mention it, but I don't think he's even going to miss time. So
yeah, I think he'll be. I'm more worried about if it's Skylar Thompson next week. If Teddy doesn't clear and Tua's still out, that would worry me more. Well, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. You're gonna have to give a lot. It's gonna be tough to get Barkley off somebody right now because A, there's not a lot of stud running backs out there, and B, everybody's seeing him, what he's doing, and of course everybody knows how good this guy is when he's healthy, right? This isn't like Dameon Pierce or even Breece Hall, guys that nobody's ever seen before that maybe people still doubt. This is Saquon Barkley. Everybody knows the talent. Everybody knows how good he is when he's healthy. It's going to be hard to get Saquon Barkley. You're going to have to give up a really good wide receiver and running back probably.
Okay, so he actually put this up beforehand. A trade proposal to Connor, Aaron Jones, Pittman, and Curtis Samuel for Barkley, McLaurin, and Garrett Wilson.
I mean, yes, if you can do this, I'd do it. I mean, yeah, McLaurin looks like he's just going to be okay. He's not going to be anything great. He's not going to be terrible. He won't be great. Wilson looks like maybe the hype was not warranted for Garrett Wilson, right? Like, little overreaction there for Garrett Wilson. Looks like, but you're getting Barkley. So to me, that's enough. Like McLaurin's solid if he's your wide receiver 3. Barkley's awesome. Maybe Wilson will get better. I do that deal. If somebody's willing to take Aaron Jones, Pittman, and Curtis Samuel, I do that.
Yeah, I do that because Connor, it's almost like a throw-in, honestly. At this point, Aaron Jones, Connor, you're upgrading at running back for sure. McLaurin's not a big downgrade from Pittman at this point, so
let's not go crazy.
Huh?
He just like did nothing in a great matchup, but well, I still think Pittman will be much better than McLaurin. So
Yeah,
I mean, Diami Brown going
saying it's not a
crazy today.
huge
Like what?
difference.
Diami Brown, what the hell? Where'd he like? What?
Yeah. Where's the one I just saw? I was gonna put. Which, by the way, guys, I should mention this. If you happen to have a start-sit question for tonight, the game is a few minutes from starting. But if you happen to have a start-sit question for tonight or for Monday night, something that might kind of make the difference for you, just not sure what to do, go and throw that up. We'll try to put those questions up first. We got a few more minutes till the game starts. Try to get to your questions. We will do waiver wire and trade questions on Tuesday night. We will be live for a while. We're again extending that show because we get so many questions. Our job is to try to help you guys as much as possible. We want to try to answer all your questions. So any questions for start sit we'll do right now. Otherwise, we'll just do some more instant reaction. Here's an interesting one. What do you think about Stevenson? Rhamondre had a nice game because, of course, Damien Harris left. So he had the backfield to himself for a while. That's unusual. He did get the defense, too.
Yeah, you got to hold him now because it's a hamstring injury for Damien Harris. I mean, unlikely that maybe Damien Harris will play next week, but it's a hamstring injury. Those things, they don't heal very quickly. So I think you got to hold Stevenson for right now because if Harris is out, Pierre, I know Pierre Strong. We worried about Pierre Strong. No, like really, he's all they really have, right? He's all they really have now. So you got to hold, and he's going to be a must start for however long Harris is out, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it was just he had a big game against a bad defense, but with Damien Harris hurt, I mean, it's a hamstring. It's not like he's out for the season, but still, this is not a time I don't think you need to. Sell him. So just hold for now. I mean, how many running backs really can you kind of count on at this point to even be the lead guy in their backfield?
Yeah, and what I'll just say real quick, what I like to do with these guys, and I said trade Khalil Herbert and I said trade Jamal Williams. Like when these now Stevenson's a little different because he's not a true handcuff, right? He's in a split backfield. But like when you get these guys who suddenly because of injury become the guy, and let's say Damien Harris is out for 3 weeks. Maybe you ride Stevenson for a week or two. Then you trade him the week before Harris comes back, and then I mean that's used, but not right now. Not right now. Hopefully that makes sense.
What do you think about this? Pitts and Pierce for Andrews. If it's Dameon Pierce, I find that tough to do.
If it's Dameon Pierce, I'm not doing it. If it's Alec Pierce, because I know a lot of people are freaking out about Alec Pierce right now. He's got a lot. No, really, people are like, oh my God, Alec Pierce is the wide receiver 1 in Indy. Oh my God. If it's Alec Pierce, do it. If it's Dameon Pierce, I don't do it because, yeah, Pitts might be terrible the rest of the year and Andrews might be great, but having that stud running back like Pierce is just so valuable. So valuable. So I hold and hope Pitts gets a little better.
Can only get better, right? Can only get better. But yeah,
let's hope.
Having that guy at running back is probably more important than having that guy at tight end. And Pierce will, I mean, Pitts should at least get you something. I mean, he should. Okay, so what do you think about Gabe Davis? I know you hate having those points on your bench, but did you hate having the 3-4 points he got you the last 2 weeks? That's the thing. These guys, it's gonna be like this.
Gabe Davis is like Mike Williams. Who else? Like people talk about certain players being boom bust, but then you have true boom bust players like Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, like guys who like true boom bust guys, and that's just what Gabe Davis is because he's not. Look, no Isaiah McKenzie, no Dawson Knox. Once we heard those guys were out and Gabe Davis was healthy, we were like, play Gabe Davis. You have to play Gabe Davis, and a great matchup. But he still only got 6. I just checked. He still only got 6 targets on a day when Josh Allen threw the ball like 40 times. Like it's gonna be like it's hard to have huge weeks. Even in the Bills' offense, it's hard to have huge weeks when you're only getting 6 targets, especially when McKenzie gets healthy, especially when Dawson Knox gets healthy again. But he's like Mike Williams. Unless it's a terrible matchup, you can't really sit Gabe Davis because this is what he can do every week.
You have to consider Pittsburgh is a lot worse than we thought they were going to be.
Terrible.
I mean, they stepped on him, and then they kept doing it, and they kicked him when they were down. And so he threw the ball like over and over, and they just picked on him. And Khalil Shakir got a touchdown. I thought, he might be a good stash. They just kept throwing it, and the starting tight end was out. Crowder is out, McKenzie was out. So of course those guys got more targets. So. But I like having Gabe Davis because he is capable of those weeks. So it's okay that you have the downs because the ups make it worth it.
Exactly.
So, but I'm not going to just point blank say you have to have him in your lineup every week. Not necessarily, because there will be games he doesn't. So let's get a little more detailed here. Lincoln was here. What do you think about Kamara?
I didn't see. It's funny because Taysom Hill scoring all these touchdowns, and and I'm watching the play-by-play of every game, and I'm seeing Kamara get some catches, like he had like a big catch or whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, Kamara's like doing okay, but nothing special. And then I go look, and Kamara has like 90-something yards rushing, 90-something yards receiving. I'm like, this is the quietest, like almost 200-yard game I've ever seen. Like no one's like, I had no idea. It was like the quietest game ever. Like so. I mean, you got to feel good. You got to feel good about it. I mean, you can't feel good about the fact that Taysom Hill is out there vulturing touchdowns, even without Sean Payton. Remember, we used to think, he's Sean Payton. No, I guess this is just what Taysom Hill does. He just vultures touchdowns. But you got to feel fairly good about Kamara after today.
The one thing I wonder, I'm not making like a definitive statement either way, but if Jameis Winston was quarterback, would it be the same? Like we maybe wouldn't see as much of Taysom Hill. We wouldn't maybe have seen as much of Kamara getting those dump, because that's the thing is Andy Dalton will do that, right? Or maybe just the offense, let's just say the play calling will do that with a guy like Andy Dalton. With Winston in there, they weren't really throwing it to Kamara as much. So and
don't forget also Michael Thomas was out, Landry was out, and Olave got concussed, bad concussion. So they basically had nobody. Like they had Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway. So I'm not gonna go crazy about Kamara, but I mean he looked good. Like if you started him, you're feeling good.
Right. You have
and Olave probably gonna miss next week. I know they said they expect MT back. We don't know about Landry, so it'll probably be another good start next week. Also, this was a great match.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is this next week? Like, I don't expect Michael Thomas coming back, and then Landry, who knows, but he's not like a major factor. And like you said, if Olave is out, it's going to be a lot of Kamara again. So feel good, but don't. He's back to vintage Kamara. Not so fast. And then what do you think about this? Lieber the God traded Mike Williams and James Conner for Kamara last week. Well, that turned out to be okay, because Mike Williams had a huge week. So, but what do you think?
Yeah, I still prefer Mike Williams in this trade. Just so much weekly upside in this offense. Like I still don't think like James Conner, whatever. Like okay, fine. This is basically Mike Williams for Kamara, because James Conner to me is a throw-in. So, I still think Kamara will be solid, like a solid RB2 every week, but Mike Williams gives you those. I mean, even today, Alvin Kamara had a huge game. He didn't like win anybody their week. He was good and he helped you win, but he wasn't like, Gabe Davis or even Mike. I'm pretty sure Mike Williams had more points. Maybe they had the same, but you know what I mean? Like Mike Williams can win you your week. Like he can have those games where he wins you your week. So I think I still prefer Mike Williams.
Yeah, I mean James Conner is kind of incidental here, but exactly. Don't get too carried away by Kamara. I mean, obviously Kamara helped you this week, but Mike Williams would have helped you just as much.
Yeah, I don't even know if Kamara outscored Mike Williams. But of course, if you needed the running back, like
that's the only thing. Having a stud running back is typically more helpful than
Yeah.
All right, so Isaac K again. Would you target Amari Cooper and Kamara rest of the season? Cooper paid off. We weren't exactly sure, but we said you got to put him in there, and sure enough, he paid off.
Yeah, Cooper's going to be tough to get because he's had 3 really big games. People know Deshaun Watson's coming back. You know what I mean? Cooper's going to be tough to get. Kamara, look, the buy low window on Kamara was last week. Now it's gonna be tough to get Kamara right now because he's coming off a big game. Maybe wait till Kamara has another down game. But maybe I would. Those aren't really guys I'm targeting. Maybe I'm too low on Amari Cooper. Maybe I'm too low on Alvin Kamara. I don't know, but those aren't really guys I'm targeting personally.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper would be great to get, but like you said, I don't think this is the time to try to get him because, yeah, you're kind of buying high at this point. So, I mean, would I like having those guys on my team? Sure. It's funny, I will tell you this. I do have in the Art King League where we play with other endgame members. Um, I'm a little worried about my running back situation because I think that's the league I lost Javonte and I had Kamara and I wasn't sure he was going to play this week. And so somebody had JT on the trade block. So I was trying to do like a 2-for-2 and I offered Kamara and he said, I'm not really interested in Kamara. And so, all right, well, it turned out good. I kept Kamara this week. So sometimes you never know. All right, Big Crit. Thoughts on Jay Herb moving forward? I have Brady too. I mean, set and forget.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's a set and forget. I would be trying to trade Brady. I know Brady didn't have a big game today, but maybe wait for Brady to have another big game and then try to trade Brady to a team that needs a QB, which is a lot of teams right now. I don't ever remember a year like this where so much bad quarterback play this year. So many bad quarterbacks right now, right? Like so many. So there's a lot of teams that would love to have Brady right now. So maybe wait for Brady to have a big game and then trade him.
Crit, I wonder if he's thinking like, look, Brady's had back-to-back big yardage. I mean, I think he only had one touchdown today, but he had 350 yards. You know, back-to-back games, he's had well over 300 yards. Like maybe I'm good with Brady and trade Herbert, but I wouldn't do that. I would keep Herbert. Maybe you can move Brady, and I would try to if somebody else is buying. Yeah, because if it's a single quarterback league, you only need one quarterback. So yeah, you can go and try to sell Brady. Maybe somebody will buy. And then I want to answer this one. Bohemington McGee, 1-4. Does this mean I'm done? It's his first year or her first year.
Nope, you're definitely not done. So, little backstory here. Pierre and I met through a site called Rotoballer. So the first year I was writing for Rotoballer, they invited me into their expert league with all like the writers and everything. And I had this incredible team, and I was 1-4. Yeah, pretty sure I was 1-4, and then I was like 2-5 at one point. 2-5. That's like, and this is back when there was only 16 games in the fantasy season. There was only 13 games in the playoffs, and I was 2-5. And I won out all the way. I had this incredible team, and I won out all the way until the championship, and that was the year Antonio Brown got hurt in week 15. And I lost to Nick Mariano barely in the finals because I didn't have Antonio Brown. But the lesson here is, if you're 1-4 and you're one of the lowest scoring teams and your team is terrible, you're probably done. Unless you do something drastic and make like crazy trades. But if you're 1-4 and you're one of the top scorers and you're just, like in this case, you're giving a lot of points against you, it will turn around and you'll start winning and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
In head-to-head leagues, there's a lot of luck at play. If you're scoring and you got good players, you'll be okay. And look, it works the other way. We talked this morning in our Patreon group. Remember David? And he was saying he was 4-0, and he told us his team, and we're like, how did you win any game, much less all your games? Like he's like, because he had Lamar Jackson and Austin Eckler, who was bad the first couple of weeks, but had this monster week, and he just got lucky. He's like, look, I just got lucky. I played one of the lowest scoring teams every week so far. It happens. All right. So don't worry. Don't give up. And look, I will say this always, forever. The teams that win are not the teams that draft the best. Almost never will you draft a championship team. It's waiver wire and trades. And that's why we talk so much about trades. You have to be active. If you do nothing on waivers, you don't make a single trade, it really almost doesn't matter how much you drafted unless you happen to draft the perfect team, which you probably didn't. So yeah, you just stick with it. That's why we do what we do every week. And Michael Fawcett says, Kirk almost lost me the game. Do we still trust him?
Yeah, but he's not a guy, like if you have better options, you could play them. I think, like I said, I think he's more like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 type. Still a good, solid starter. Look, Justin Jefferson had a 3-catch, 14-yard game, and people were losing their minds. And he's gone back-to-back 30-point games. Like, bad games happen. Bad games happen. Can't overreact. I still think – I still trust Christian Kirk, yes.
Yeah, he'll be up and down. I mean, he's not the kind of guy, he's not Cooper Kupp. He's not going to go off every week. So don't worry about that. And blinded Doge. All right.
What? You got – I mean, look, I was all over Najee before the season, but if somebody's going to give me Breece Hall for Najee Harris right now, I'm taking that and I'm running. I mean, even if Najee turns it around, Breece Hall is still going to be awesome. So it's like you're getting an awesome player without the risk. So yeah, good job there, very good job.
Yeah, look, you have to throw draft capital out the window at this point. You know what I mean? Got to look at the here and now. Steve, apologies. Looks like I did miss a couple of these. All right, so Steve, super chat. Kamara and AJ Brown for Swift and Mike Williams.
I want the Swift Mike Williams side. I just think Swift will be so much better than Kamara. And even though I do like AJ Brown, I know he's coming off a bad game. I still think he'll be great. But I also really like Mike Williams. So to me, I want the Swift Mike Williams side.
I do too. This is the time to get Swift. Kamara, this is a good time to sell him. I really like AJ Brown. I think the rest of the season he'll be fine. He'll be a stud. But Mike Williams has pretty much been almost as equal in terms of yard. You know, he'll be more up and down, of course. But I mean, do we even trust that Keenan Allen will make a big dent at this point, even if he comes back? Like,
who knows?
And then Derek, also a loyal in-game community member here. Absolutely right. Yeah, guys, I know we haven't been told officially he's on IR, he's out or whatever. You can pretty safely drop Penny, right?
Yeah, I mean, even a fractured bone, like what are we really looking at? Like 2 months, 3 months? I don't know. Like, yeah.
And, I mean, look, we never want players to get injured. We don't. The one thing is that now you know, without a doubt, Kenneth Walker is the guy in Seattle. It's not a sure thing that he's going to be a stud, but I like Kenneth Walker, right? The Seahawks like Kenneth Walker. They made him the number 2 running back taken in the draft, and they already had Penny. They know that they want a guy like him. If you watch any of his tape in college, he doesn't need 20-plus carries. He doesn't. You saw, what did he do today? How many carries did he get?
Yeah.
He will do that. He will do that. So I'm all over Walker, and it's not just because, we're desperate for running backs at this point, because we are, but still, he is a guy that I feel like, you're going to have to bid all this money. Do it. Just do it. This is a guy who really could be that difference maker. And then Rhamondre Davis. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor and Courtland Sutton for London Metcalf and Breece?
Look, okay, I don't know what's going to Seattle, but apparently Russell Wilson was a problem. Geno Smith, 3 huge touchdowns today. Man, I love Breece Hall, but I don't think I can do this. Like, do we really think Jonathan Taylor is going to be this bad all year? And Courtland Sutton has still been great. I know he wasn't great here in this last game because nobody was great in this last game, but he's been great this season. London will be okay. Metcalf will be kind of up and down. Breece will be great. I think I still need Jonathan Taylor and Sutton.
I mean, this comes down to how you feel about Jonathan Taylor and that Colts offense. Yeah. I mean, even if you say, well, maybe he's not going to be the number 1 running back. I mean, if he's a top 5 running back, you don't give him up, right? Breece Hall could be a stud. I mean, I don't hate this deal, honestly, because Courtland Sutton, DK Metcalf looks like he might be just as good as Courtland Sutton for fantasy. Not guaranteeing that, but look, I'm definitely giving up on Russell Wilson. I'll tell you that. Drake London, you're getting an extra player there. I don't know, though. I don't know. This would be tough for me to do. I mean, I could see you coming out ahead, but I'm not sure that it will be the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, another thing you got to think about, like 2-for-1s, 3-for-2s. You're giving up, like when Jonathan Taylor comes back and is healthy, you're giving up 2 players for 3, right? Or you're getting 3. So, like, you get the player who's getting the 2, assuming Jonathan Taylor and Courtland Sutton are good, they're getting the advantage because they get a 3rd player in their lineup. Like, are you going to play all 3 of these guys, or is Drake London going to, like, is Metcalf going to be your wide receiver and London's just going to be on your bench now because, you know what I mean? So yeah, you're getting 3 players, but you're really still only getting 2. And the guy getting the 2, assuming if JT does what JT does and Courtland Sutton stays good, like what we think JT should do, and Courtland Sutton stays good, he gets to put another player into his lineup theoretically to replace that 3rd player. So I that's why I always like to be like the 1 on the 2-for-1s or the 2 on the 2-for-3s, because generally you're getting the better players. But I don't know. I just believe in JT still. I believe in JT still. I don't think he's going to be like terrible all season. I mean, Deontay Jackson or whatever, just had a nice game. So if he can do it, I feel JT can do it.
And then I wonder, because this is true, we heard about that injection for his shoulder, but Russell Wilson, they do say he has that partially torn lat, but he's going to play still, and he's not going to need surgery, and it's, but it could affect him, so does that make you worry that Courtland Sutton all of a sudden is going to be, not like, you don't want to start him, but still you feel like then maybe he's not even as good as those receivers?
I mean, maybe short term, but I don't know. Like, it's not like Russell Wilson has been great. You know what I mean? It's not like Russell Wilson was like cooking and Courtland Sutton was cooking with him. It was like Russell wasn't cooking and Courtland Sutton was still cooking. I mean, I don't know if people realize it, but going into week 5, Courtland Sutton was a wide receiver 11 in PPR leagues. Like, and he had been great every week. So, yeah.
All right. And then just follow up here is rise above anything. That's appropriate for this. Look, he said that he's won his championship starting at 1-3. Chris told you his story. It's too early to give up. All right. So just keep making moves, keep being active, guys. That's why you play. You don't play for the first month of the season and then just forget it. Stick with it. Don't worry, make some moves. This is actually the exciting time because we have enough information that we can say maybe who are the guys to buy low, guys that you can sell and take advantage of the market. Chris is going to put those trade videos for you and, of course, tell you who to pick up on waivers besides Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
All right, the game is definitely underway now, so we're going to dip, but we'll be back with you on Tuesday to answer a lot more trade questions and waiver wire questions, and look for those videos to come out very soon. All right, guys, don't forget also, if you want to join Patreon, patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame, and the link is down below. Join us in Discord, very active chat, especially on Sundays. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you later.
See you guys.